Hello, everybody. My name is Randy Lanham, Education Director here at the Bluegrass Music Hall of Fame and Museum in downtown Owensboro, the Bluegrass music capital of the world. I have our guests here today going to be talking about the mandolin. Scott Napier, we're glad to have you here. Our buddy Chris Joslin over here playing the guitar. Scott, we're going to be learning a lot about the mandolins today. You brought 3, you said only 3.
Well, I brought a hallway full, but we'll see what we get to. You know, the mandolin's small, but it's full of information on it and about it.
I tell you what, let's start with a good old tune. What do you got?
It's a tune called Leather Britches. How about it, Chris?
Yeah. That was good stuff, man. That was good stuff. So, Scott, I want to let the folks know out there, you recently moved to Owensboro, Kentucky, you and your wife, Lauren. What in the world are you doing here? By the way, we're glad to have you.
Well, it's good to be here. It all started, I guess, as a 12 or 13-year-old kid that was into Led Zeppelin and heavy metal music. And I still am. A guilty pleasure. I discovered TNN, the Nashville network. Sam Bush was playing one night, and I'm like, what is that thing? I want that in my life. And he's playing this old beat up mandolin, and he's just head banging, which was my comfort zone at the time. I fell in love with bluegrass music. I'm from Hazard, Kentucky, so it's all around me. Back then, even, it was sort of an underground thing. You know, it was you had to go find it in the little hidden jam sessions in garages and VFW clubs and all that. Local radio, there was a place in Whitesburg, Kentucky called the Apple Shop Theater who play a lot of bluegrass music, and I just started listening. I just fell in love with the sound of this thing, and I didn't know the mandolin brought me to bluegrass music.
Yeah.
So from there and the Apple Shop of all places, I met Larry Sparks. I started I say, and within a 2-year span, I was just obsessed with the mandolin, and I got good enough to play for Larry Sparks, so I guess I moved pretty fast. I saw him at the Apple Shop, really shy, 17 years old, introduced myself to him. I sent him a cassette tape of me playing.
Yeah.
And that was, that was in February of the year, and by January of the following year, he asked me to go to Florida with him, and I played with him for 9 years. I never missed one show.
Oh,
to be on lots of
man.
recordings, a lot of dream come true moments, playing the Grand Ole Opry, the Ryman, recording with people like Alison Krauss, and just by association. But I just love the music. So, and then I went from other bands during that time. The Lost and Found was a band I loved. I got to play with, and then got a call to come back to my hometown. I was living out of the area at the time, to come back to Hazard, Kentucky, to possibly work for the Hazard Community Technical College in their bluegrass music program. It was exciting and scary all at the same time. I had to learn how to be a teacher, but long story short, I got the job and was there for 9 years. Never missed a day of work. So I think I have a 9-year record of everything.
Yeah, something 9 years, yeah.
But fell in love with being a teacher, the impact it makes, watching the progression of students of all ages and all levels. It just really, I think it's my true love now, and I get to do it through music, which is a dream come true. That ended. And there was interest about a program here in Owensboro,
Yes.
which is the bluegrass music capital of the world. I've been coming here since I was a kid. I actually came to an IBMA here, if that tells you anything, a long time ago. So, the cards were all out on the table, and there were stars were aligned, and my wife and I, who's also a professional bluegrass musician, Lauren Price of the Price Sisters, up and moved to Owensboro.
Yes, and we're
Here we are.
so glad that you did. So tell us about the program here that you're doing.
It's similar to the one in Hazard. It's part of KCTCS, which is the Kentucky Educational System. There's 16 colleges throughout the state. And so the curriculum's somewhat the same, but totally refreshed and revamped. And it's a 2-year degree. It's studio artist. The one thing that we really thrive on is the recording studio, which is a big project that we're just starting here to build a recording studio. So it brings in students of all types of music, anyone that can play anything who wishes to record, but also songwriting, bluegrass history, lessons upon lessons and lessons, and what I've loved the most, the ensemble bands. We put together school bands and we just perform and we play everywhere. And that's another huge incentive to be here in Owensboro. There's so much music here and so many opportunities for the kids. And I think of everything that I do with the best interest of the student.
Yeah.
Because this stuff, to my knowledge, did not exist. It didn't exist in Hazard when I was there in high school. And you know, I joke about it now, but I had to go to summer school my last 2 years of high school because I would miss so much playing music. And so barely got out of high school, and then got my college degree during the time that I was teaching. But had that been there when I was there, I mean, I would have been a model student. I would still be in school probably.
Well, I'll tell you, you are a blessing to our community, and we're glad to have you there. And if somebody can't come in person, you all offer online lessons as well, right?
We do online lessons. I have students from New York, Japan, Texas, all over the country, and it's all ages. You know, I have them as young as 12 years old up into in their 80s.
Now, how do they find out some information if they want to?
You can go to Owensboro Community Technical College's website. There's a Start Here application button, or you can email me personally at scott.napier@kctcs.edu. Also, we're on all the social media outlets, and however, yeah.
Well, let's learn some more about the mandolins. You brought different ones, and you're going to pick one up, and we're going to talk a little bit about the mandolin over here in American music, right?
Yeah. Of course, the mandolin started in Italy in the 1700s. They were bowl-back mandolins. You might have heard them called
tater bugs.
Tater bugs here in the Appalachian Mountains. This isn't one of those, but this is the first generation mandolin. I say American-made mandolin because Orville Gibson for the Gibson Company in Kalamazoo, Michigan, designed the flatback mandolin, and it's actually much more fiddle type, the carved top. Of course, with the mandolin for the total beginners, it's tuned like a fiddle typically, but it has pairs of strings instead of a single string for like tremolo. This is what tremolo is. And this, you can see this mandolin has sort of a different sound than what bluegrass musicians are used to. And, the Italian duo style was the first prominent way to play the mandolin, and it's still maybe the hardest way to play the mandolin. I'm in an alternate tuning, which we'll talk about later, but I'll try an example of it here.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm in D, so. So basically, the rule is you keep a tremolo note going at all times while you play a melody line somewhere else. I don't say pardon my clunkers because again, it's just very difficult to play the duo.
Yeah,
style.
but you gave us a great example. Wow, that's very interesting.
Really cool,
Yeah.
right? But to add to confusion, the early musicians in Appalachian region and here too, it wasn't even known about a standard tuning. Like this is how it got. The A440 pitch, which we tune to this. These strings go here. They would just make up their own. This sounded good, so I would do that. One of the best ones is the old cross D fiddle tuning. You're probably familiar with that. It's where you're tuned to a key, to a chord. It's the D chord. So not to get too technical, but like the standard tuning is E A D G. This is D A D A. So You gotta love that. So everything you hear. Sound, which is Irishy and Celtic sounding, and the immigrants, the Italians who brought the mandolin over to America, were cross-pollinating with Germans. I mean, all different styles of musicians would bring in their own instruments from their homeland. They would trade them and switch off, and I think the Scots-Irish realized this thing is tuned like a fiddle. We can play our fiddle tunes on it, and that was the start of a lot of what led to hillbilly music, which was the proper term of this music in the 20s and 30s when it was first being recorded. So it's a beautiful thing, and this is a tune I'll play in the style of that. It's an original tune that I'd written by befriending an old-time fiddle Kentucky music legend, Art Stamper. I used to be around him a lot with Larry Sparks back in traveling at festivals, and I actually got to play at his funeral, but he showed me he had written a page full of alternate tunings for the fiddle, and I took this one and come up with this song, and it's got a funny title. An old Appalachian saying to travel on foot, like if we had to walk down to the bridge, we're traveling Shanks Mare. You ever hear that?
I haven't.
It means to walk somewhere. So, and a community in Eastern Kentucky, they're loaded with funny sounding names. There's one called Thousand Sticks. There's one called Shoulder Blade. So I call this thing Shanks Mare to Shoulder Blade.
Man, that was so cool. Man, I tell you, I am enjoying hanging out with you and learning all this stuff, man. And to keep the show going, I think next we're going to talk about the Monroe brothers and some of the brother duos. And I guess you got another mandolin here?
I better get some ammunition here.
Some ammunition.
This one's a little different, but that was the start of Appalachian mandolin music, from Italy to the Deep South and all forms of Kentucky, but even the North. So in the late 20s, they were recording this music for the first time, and so the world was hearing it. America was hearing this music that for generations would have gone unheard. One of the first brother duets, and I say brother duets, it was a common theme in the early 30s, to where typically brothers, sometimes not brothers who would pose as brothers, would have guitar and mandolin. And the forefront of that, even before bluegrass music, was the Monroe brothers, was Bill Monroe. Their first recording was in 1934, and one of the first sessions was a tune called Long Journey Home. And it's lightning fast. It's not anything like any other mandolin playing at the time. So, and I call it pre-bluegrass because the elements of bluegrass wasn't there yet. I mean, the rhythmic chop and the downstrokes, we'll get into that in a little bit, but it's just fire and brimstone. Get just wide open guitar, mandolin, duet singing. So this is one of the first ones, and it's called Long Journey Home.
Fantastic. Oh, you brothers, y'all fake brothers need to come up with something, man. That was terrific, man. But that's a great example of the Monroe brothers and how he was a trailblazer, man. Monroe was always, I know he was a great musician and he was always looking for different sounds and different things, right? Man, they did a fantastic job. I know on that.
Yeah, I mean, if that's all he ever did was play with the Monroe brothers, he had a place in mandolin playing history. But, you know, as all things shall pass, and that passed, and he wanted to form his own band and have his own music. I'm not for sure that he had the foresight right out of the gate to think, I'm going to start a music trend. It happened with a number of great musicians that were involved.
In a number of years, putting them together.
Yeah, one thing's for sure though, he started in '39, I think, with Bill Monroe and his Bluegrass Boys. But shortly after that, maybe 1942 or 3, he got a new mandolin. And
I was going to ask you, that definitely sounds different than that other mandolin you were playing.
Yeah, it's full of power. And the F-hose make it real percussive. It's very much like an archtop guitar of the day, which was the modern pop music. I think that he was channeling a lot of that. He was after a lot of commercial music as well. But I think his biggest impact for me personally is his invention. I say invention, the music was there, but it wasn't played on the mandolin, was blues and downstrokes and all the blues influence on a music that's primarily Scots-Irish and gospel singing. And all of a sudden here comes this blues music that come from nearby here, right, Randy? From Arnold Schultz.
Arnold Schultz, an African American and grew up in Ohio County. Was one of Bill's greatest influence musically, and one of the greatest musicians that I've been told in the area, in the region.
Yeah, and also the thumb pickers idolize him as well.
That's right. Fantastic musician.
One of the founders of that. One cool thing about being here in Owensboro is I was at a local business recently, and there was a young lady assisting me. Well, my cell phone broke and she was helping me fix it. Anyway, her last name is Schultz, and she was sort of aware of her musical family line, and it was in fact the same line. So her grandmother used to tell her that, you know, your so-and-so was somewhat famous, and it's just a beautiful thing to get to, you know, sort of teach and learn all at the same time.
Yeah,
I want to dive deeper into the Schultz musical history. So, but the blues influence with Bill Monroe with Arnold spun a number of mandolin tunes, or iconic tunes. One's the Bluegrass Stomp, but the very first one that he'd ever come up with in that style was called the Tennessee Blues, and it was recorded on the first, could be the first Bill Monroe and his Bluegrass Boys session. So. And see if you can hear a blues sound. To me, it sounds like early rock and roll, 15 years before rock and roll. So, yeah. And this mandolin, by the way, is the same year as Bill Monroe's iconic mandolin that's currently in the Country Music Hall of Fame, and it's signed the same day. The inventor of this mandolin at Gibson was Lloyd Lohr, and he would sign labels, and they were done in batches. So Bill Monroe's famous mandolin was January 9th, 1923, same date as this one. So it's pretty spooky
Yeah.
to get to play it, and to have it in our home is just, sometimes it gets me up at night. But he
man, that's
recorded. This is the tune, Tennessee Blues.
Scott, that's amazing. I got to tell you something too. What a blessing it is that I don't have an instrument to distract me, because I have a front row seat to sit there and watch you play, and it is absolutely incredible the things that you're playing. You're such a skilled musician, but you're also very humble and very blessed to be able to teach. I'm like you. It took me a long time to learn how to teach, and you being a teacher and a performer, so knowledgeable about our history, man. Just such a blessing to have you here at Owensboro and teaching us and me as we speak. I'm sitting here learning all about the mandolin. Hey, you have a couple guests coming up, and you're going to be telling us a little bit about the gospel influence, right?
Yeah.
I'll let you talk about that. We'll get our guest up here.
So throughout the history of bluegrass music, gospel music and gospel singing has been on the forefront. Vocal duets, as well as playing. A lot of the music came and was developed in churches. Even the Monroe brothers got their start in a Methodist church over in Rosine. So it's hard to do it without gospel music. So, and I have a special trio guest here, Deb Philman and Aaron Rouse. I like to call us the Bottle Rockets, because our first gig was at Aaron's parents' 4th of July porch party.
Fireworks show.
Fireworks show. So we're the Bottle Rockets. And I'm going to switch mandolins while you guys... It's a good thing they're small. What if I was switching upright basses on every song? But this is one of my favorite tunes. It means a lot to me. I got to play it at one of my heroes' funeral, Bobby Osborne, and we used to play this tune. He played it totally different than I did, but we respected each other's style, and sometimes he would ask me to come down to his office and play this for him. So to get to do it there meant the world, and now I get to do it with these lovely ladies. How great they are.
At the Bluegrass Music Academy, we believe in the power of music to bring generations together. With our online courses, everyone can learn to play, from the first note to the final song. Join us today and discover the joy of bluegrass music.
All right, everybody, thank you so much for watching and hanging out with us. And Scott, thank you so very much for teaching us all about the mandolin. I learned a ton, and I enjoyed watching you play and learning myself. And you all make sure to go to bluegrasshall.org to find out all about these wonderful programs in Owensboro, Kentucky. Now we're going to do our play-along, sing-along song, You Are My Sunshine in the Key of D. If you got an instrument, get it on out, tune it up, and play right along. 1, 2, 3. Thanks again for watching, folks. Have a good day.